Welcome to another episode of the Sales Manager Academy podcast. I'm your host, Omar. And today, as always, right, we talk about leadership. And I like putting a spin, right, on different thoughts of leadership. Because we all hear different tropes, but we also all have different experiences growing up in our environments and whatnot. And right now, this one actually came to mind just because me and my wife are currently going through it. We're watching Solo Leveling. So if you haven't seen it, it's an amazing anime, uh, very action oriented. The webtoon portion is actually, I think, a little bit better because there's a lot more action into it than the anime, but the anime is still amazing. So if you haven't watched it, take a look, go through it, enjoy it. But it's got me thinking how many leaders, right, or so-called leaders, have the same mindset of what you see in the anime. And what I mean by that, so in the anime, you have uh, individuals that are called hunters. Hunters are the people that are endowed with powers, and they're the ones that kind of the anime is around. And there's one in particular who kind of breaks the mold. But pretty much when you get your powers, you're stuck at a certain level. That's it. You're never going to rise above it. And that's kind of how a lot of managers um, see their people. They see their people, their reps, as individuals that won't be able to grow. And it's not that they can't grow, it's that they're not able to skill up properly. And that's more from a leadership standpoint or lack of leadership, right? Where Jin Woo comes in, and Jin Woo's obviously the protagonist of the anime, right? He comes in and he was an individual like this, probably worst of the worst, okay? Bottom of the barrel. And some stuff happens, and he ends up having the ability to level up, right? Hence the name solo leveling, because he's the only one that can do this that they're aware of. Uh, and pretty much he starts off and gets better, better, better until he's essentially the best. And that's kind of where we can be as leaders with our sales teams if you know what you're doing. Because oftentimes, right, you're talking about having this idea that, and it's not a you thing per se, right? It's also a lack of training and developing for you as a leader. But you have this fixed mindset that your team will never get better, right? You're quick to hire and fire instead of training and developing. Because it's not that they're fixed at their skill levels for your people. It's that they're just missing the experience to be able to become better. They're missing that guidance because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know how to become better. And as a leader, you have to do that for your team. You have to bring your people up and set them up for success. That is your responsibility as a leader. You're not leading individuals who will never become better. You have to train and guide them to that. And that's the big thing. You'd be surprised how fast people will pick up the skills that are needed to become much better when you're given or giving them the right coaching, when you're being clear on what your expectations are, and when you're giving feedback, right? And when I say feedback, I'm not talking about being criticizing. I'm not talking about you criticizing them, critiquing them every single step of the way. I'm talking about actual active feedback, things that they're doing well, things that they're doing bad, and allowing them the ability to take ownership over what's going on, right? Because it's better if they have the feedback of themselves and are able to start seeing, all right, this is what I'm doing incorrectly. This is what I'm doing good. This is what I want to do more of. This is what I want to do less of. When that comes from them, that means they're becoming a lot more self-aware over the actions and the skills that they're using and what they're doing during interactions, as opposed to you constantly giving them the feedback or constantly the one that's talking, not allowing them to take ownership of what they're doing. Because in their head, it could be, okay, that's what you say. I don't know how to do that yet. And because that constant feedback or the way that you're giving the communication, the way that you're coaching in your mind, and the way it's coming across aren't the same thing, they're not going to take ownership because that's what you said. That's not what I am taking ownership of, right? That's how they're seeing it in their head. So it's important for you to have a framework to help unlock those skills for your people and being able to let them level up on their own. Instead of taking it from solo leveling, it's now a team leveling experience, right? You're able to get them to come up. They don't have to go through and have to fight the ants or anything like that. Uh, or do anything super crazy. They can go from being bottom rank, E rank, to being an S tier, a top tier individual on the team, not just as a seller, but also as an individual contributor that's able to produce more and become another trainer on the team to now become a more viable asset, not just for your team, but also for the organization to be able to expand and grow, right? Right now is going to be very important because a lot of the stuff that's happening at a macroeconomic level here in the States to make sure that your team is trained and leveled up in their skills. If you expect your teams, if you expect them to just do things on their own without leadership, then I don't know why you're in a leadership position. To be frank, that's the real thing. Oh, I'm there for operations. Nobody fucking needs you there for operations. Okay. You're there to drive results. If they need you for operations, there's a bigger issue. Okay. There's a much bigger issue if you're a district sales manager. Key point on the sales part. Now, the other aspect of what I talked about earlier, right, is a lot of these so-called leaders, these managers in these roles. And if you fall into this category, just know you can change. Okay. If you are firing fast instead of training and developing, if you're quick to hire and fire, like, okay, people aren't developing, people aren't selling, you know what? I'm just going to let them go and just find somebody else. I'm just going to let them go and find somebody else. I'm going to let them go, find somebody else. It's lazy leadership. It's not even leadership, right? You're expecting everybody to fail. You want somebody who's going to come in and just turn things around for you, which as a leader, you need to be the one that's turning things around for the team. You're need you're needing to be that support that they so much need, and especially right now with what's going on, right? Some of you guys may notice you may be seeing an uptick in sales. Uh, that's for a reason, right? Everybody that knows what's going on understands a couple of different things. So importantly, like, hey, uh, prices are going to go up on stuff, so we got to lock it down before it actually does, or before it becomes very hard to get this material in or get this product in. So it's gonna be very interesting, and this is where it's very important to understand that you need to be training and developing your people and leveling up their skills so that they don't miss those opportunities, so that they don't lose as much income as they will potentially be doing, right? Because for you as a leader, I've already said it. Right now, if you lose people, if people are fired from your team, it is going to be that much harder to bring them back on board or to backfill those positions. It is going to be that much more difficult. So if you think that you're running very light on staffing, because I know what the wireless industry is like, I know how staffing works, just know it's going to get lighter. It's going to get tougher. Um, I've been through it before. I've been in down periods and I've seen what those staffing models look like. You need to have the right reasons to bring people on board. And before you can do that, you have to start training and developing your people to make it viable. Okay. Uh, Now, when your people come on board, they're not going to be strong. If you're taking over a new area, there's a reason why you're taking it over. It's very rare that an external person's coming in to take over a territory. Because if they have somebody that's good, they're bringing somebody from internal, right? So they're bringing somebody internally, typically from a neighboring territory, neighboring market, or within their own market, because they have somebody who's already trained and developed to be able to do that. Because the previous district manager is getting promoted to a director level role, whether it's a regional sales director or whether it's another director role within the organization, right? So that means there's opportunity to grow. And if they've been doing things correctly, they have somebody within their own territory that knows the market, can take over, that they've been mentoring and guiding to be able to do that. If you're being, if you got the position and you're moving somewhere else for it, then there is something wrong, and we all know that. So that means that you have a team that needs to be developed a little bit further. Doesn't mean that your people are, not worth saving, it doesn't mean that your people don't have the skills necessary to actually make it happen. It means that they need guidance, they need leadership to be able to step up and do that. And instead of being quick to say, you know what, I'm going to come in, I'm going to clean house, and I'm going to bring a bunch of people over. No, you're going to come in, you're going to train and develop your people, and you're going to blow socks off the goals, right? You're going to blow past what they thought was possible and actually make some stuff that is amazingly viable as far as what you're producing. You're going to end up building monsters on the sales floor by investing time and training and effort into making them better, not by replacing them. Okay. Because if you think about how long it takes to hire, to recruit, hire, train somebody up to get there, it literally takes less time to train and develop your existing team to get them to pivot. That's really it. And honestly, most of the time, you're just needing a 10 to 20% lift in their performance to get them back up to par and to get the rest of the district up. So when you're training and developing them and they're getting a 50 to 60, 70% uplift in what they're producing, you will see much better results, not just for your commission, for your bonus as a leader, but for them, for their morale. If you don't know how to build culture, you're now having something done because a culture will be built in the process of training and developing, right? So that's super, super important. If you don't know where to start, if you think, I like the idea, I want the concept, I want to be able to do training and developing, I just don't know what to use, I get what that's like, right? I have some coaching docs that you can get. Take a look at the bio, take a look at the description of the video, depending on where you're watching this, right? And download it. The ones I have on there are free to download. You can use. If you have any questions, reach out, let me know. Uh, or take a look at any of the previous videos, right? Go ahead. They've got 15-minute framework. I have a couple of things like the PPO method. If you have trouble doing interviews, I also have a STAR method. There's a lot of different things available there that can help you become much better as far as a trainer, a developer, a coach, a leader for your team. It just takes a little bit of time and effort on your part to make your team much better and stronger on their part. Uh, so when it comes to your people, you are not the hero. In your story, you're the hero. In their story, you're the mentor, you're the guide, you're the wizard that's helping them through, right? If we're talking about solo leveling, you're kind of like the pop-up screen that's guiding them and kind of telling them what needs to happen or kind of the rewards they're getting or the challenges that they're needing to step up to, right? And it's them kind of like, okay, I got to figure this out. I got to handle this. I got to take care of this and going through the motions, but you're there to assist, help, and develop them. And that's the big thing. Leadership isn't a rank. It's gonna be a grind. If you're doing things correctly, it's a grind, especially at first. Just like everything else, it's always at the beginning when things are difficult because you're learning the ropes. There's a lot more that you need to take in. And as you get better, as you level up, things get easier. They're more manageable. You're able to do a lot more with less effort. Okay. That's the most beautiful thing about it. If you focus on just 1% better, right? We've talked about Kaizen, the relentless improvement, uh, the Japanese term, right? Kaizen. Just 1% better every single day. A little bit less than Jinwoo, right? Because he has the daily challenges every single day. And if he doesn't do it, he gets sent off into you guys know where. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Solo Leveling. You'll understand it. But the leveling up, you're going to do it daily. As a leader, you're going to do it mostly solo. You'll have other peers. I get it. Those other peers are typically not in your territory. It's not very often that you and your peers will get together. You can call each other, you can assist each other. Most of the things you're going to do, yes, it's going to be on your own, but you're going to be the one that's going to be proctoring most of this. And if you're doing it correctly, you're going to be training your local leaders, your store managers, your assistant managers, right? Your leads to also do this because you're going to be training the trainers. They're going to be stepping up. They're going to be doing an amazing job. And that's what you want to look forward to. That's what you want to enjoy. Um, you want your team to look forward to trainings and coachings and development because they understand, you know what, this is going to be something new, or I'm going to be reinforcing something today that I'm almost on the brink of getting. And when I've done it, it works great. Boom. And once again, I've said it before, it takes very little time and effort, or it takes very little effort, I should say, to actually do training and developing. It does take investment in time. It does take a little bit of effort for you to want to do it. And at first, it's going to be a fight because you're going to be debating, okay, why do I need to do this? Just kind of like Jin with the first time around when he kept ignoring the daily task that he had to do until he got taken into that land and realized, oh, snaps, I need to do this. And then once he started getting really good and realizing like this then helped me, he does the tasks, not having to worry about, okay, what are the repercussions? Because he just gets them done. He doesn't have to worry about being sent off to no man's land as punishment, right? Nobody's going to send you off in that respect to no man's land. What will happen is you will be promoted to customer. So you want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do. You're focusing on your tasks. You have your stuff that you're taking care of. And if you're needing some assistance figuring out like, okay, what do I need to do? What's my schedule like? Right? Time management is a very big thing for leaders to learn. We won't talk about it today. If you do have questions on it, I do have a sheet. I don't have that one available to download. I do have it. And if you want access to it, shoot me a DM, right? And I'll get you in contact with it. I'll shoot it over to you directly. That one I am not making available to download, just FYI. But it's just one of those where you guys can take advantage of the time that you have instead of wasting it worrying about numbers, chasing after people on GroupMe, trying to, pump up numbers through being a text warrior, right? We pump up numbers the right way, training, developing, coaching by being a leader. That's what we want to do. So understand your people are not stuck at the rank that they're in. They're able to grow, they're able to develop and become better. And you got to step up as a leader to do it. So I'll leave it there for you today. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free, shoot me a DM, leave comments in the video. Don't forget, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.